Hello, hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Marketing Training Hub. Today, we are going to be focusing on email marketing. So, for those of you who have email that you've been working on, this is for those of you who may not have um, been using your email list as much as you should be. Like you're probably ghosting your email. This is for people who haven't even gotten started with your email. All of this information is going to help all of you because what I want to do is I want to talk about how to set up your email so that you're not just growing a list, but you're growing a list to make more sales. Because I think that is one of the most important things when it comes to our email, especially with our email marketing. So let's jump right into this today. I've got a lot to cover, so I want to go through all the slides and I want to talk to you about how email marketing is going to be one of your best marketing tools. So for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Penny Fox, and I am going to be your guide through this content development process. Since 2010, I have been teaching social media workshops. I teach them here locally at the National Entrepreneur Center in Orlando. So I have worked with hundreds of small business owners. And so for those of you who are thinking, oh, this is just for coaches, or oh, this is just for people who sell on Etsy, this is for everybody. I have done these programs with people who have brick and mortar stores. I have done these programs who with people who are coaches and consultants. I have done these programs with people who are selling things online. So this content that you're going to hear today applies for everybody in every type of business. And for me personally, I am the owner of two businesses. I have my content marketing consulting business, which I've been doing for over 25 years. And there's also the Create Your Business program. And we have the Marketing Strategy Collective, which is the group program on Patreon. So let's jump right in today because I want to talk about email marketing. But before I jump into all of the amazing stuff I want to share with you, especially to help you with your marketing, I want to talk for a few minutes, not even a few minutes, just a few seconds, 30 seconds worth of email marketing. Because there's still these people out there who think email marketing is just not an opportunity for me. It's just not something that is good for my business. I've got social media, I'm doing great on there, and that's enough for me. Well, let me tell you this. The thing that's so amazing about email marketing, especially when we're comparing it to social media, we own our list. We own the content that we're sharing with our list. We own the opportunity to reach out and connect and talk to our list whenever we want to show up into their inboxes. And that's a really important piece that I want you to keep in mind because when it comes to social media, you do not own those followers. You do not own any kind of list, any kind of data, any kind of information. That's housed on that social platform. And if that social platform makes a decision one morning to change their algorithm, and that's going to directly affect how many people see your message, how many times it lands in their feed, how many times people are engaging with it because they're actually interacting and they're seeing your information, it will depend upon the algorithm and what's going on with the social platform. You have no control over that, but you do have control over your email. And that's why it's so important that I'm not saying that if you should completely stop all of your social media and move everything over to email. That's not what I'm saying. But I am opening this up as an option here for those of you who might be thinking, I don't need email marketing. Just listen. Just spend a few minutes with me right now and let's go through this and hopefully you'll come up with some ideas, some thoughts about email marketing and how you can utilize this for your business and how we can talk about this and how we can turn something as simple as a free email opt-in. And those people who subscribe to that, we can turn those folks into people who are going to buy from you and book calls with you. So let's jump into this right now. All right. So what happens? Let's talk about this. We can I don't want to get into the whole thing about lead magnets. If you'll go to my YouTube channel at Create Your Business on YouTube, you will see a whole bunch of video episodes about lead magnets, how to use a lead magnet, where to set up the lead magnet. So I don't want to get into all of that today. What I want to talk about today in this training video is I want to talk about what happens after the lead magnet is set up, after somebody comes in and subscribes to your list, what happens? So for those of you who already have this set up, or maybe you know somebody who does and you've heard people talking about emails, sometimes it feels like people are just using that download and then they disappear. And then you wonder, is it my offer? What's going on? Why aren't people connecting to me? What's going on here? They just downloaded it and they're just not here anymore. What's going on? And I get that because this is something that happens all the time. And I think that's why it's so important for us to think not just about what that lead magnet is, what that offer is that we're giving them, the free value, the education that we're going to be providing for them. What happens after that? What happens after that download? So I want you to start thinking about this as like your emails are taking somebody on a journey. So you're guiding your the people who are getting these emails. They get, oh, this is really cool freebie to, you know what? I do want to learn a little bit more to, oh my goodness, where do I click here and buy? That's what we're trying to do. This is what we're looking for right now with this email sales funnel that we're talking about. And this process is going to be working for anything from like a small sale to just doing a commitment like booking a call with you. This is not the place where we're going to be selling our program that's thousands of dollars. People have just met you. They've just downloaded something for free from you. You are not able to turn this sales funnel around that quickly unless you already have a very, very high-end program and a high-end product, but that's a whole other conversation. What I want to do is I want to talk to people with small businesses who are talking about small products, small offers, and moving them into group programs or moving them into other products or working one-on-one with them. That's what we're doing with our email. So I want you to stop thinking about your email as just something that's just like some notice that we send out to somebody, like a flyer in their inbox. It's more than that. Your emails become an opportunity for you to create connections, start conversations. Each email is an opportunity to build trust. So it's not like this just one off message where people get something and go, oh, that's great. You know, it's wonderful. What else does she have to say? Maybe next week, maybe next month, whatever. It becomes this process of moving people down this journey with you. So if your email funnels aren't working, or for those of you who haven't even set up an email funnel, let me give you some things about what not to be doing so that when you start to build your email funnel, you are doing this the right way. So for those of you who aren't working or those of you who are getting ready to start this, think about that. Your email sequences or your funnels themselves most likely are failing because there's no clear path. So instead of guiding, the emails are just existing. They're just like, okay, let me give you some more free stuff. Let me tell you about my favorite podcast. Let me tell you about this book that I read. You want to make sure that each one of the emails are connected. So if I read them all, like if I put your emails together, block to block to block, would it feel like I was like reading a blog post? Like I was going through this process where one led into the next, that led into the next, led into the next. And that's what I mean like that. That's what we want to. We want to make sure that our emails are flowing for each other. And if you are just not sure about this, write all your emails in a Google Doc. Write them all together and then read it. Read it all one after the other and see if they sound connected or if they feel disconnected from each other. And that's a great way to do this, just to make sure that you are not creating any kind of gap in between when somebody's downloading something to when somebody's actually going to be buying from you. So if there's no clear goal for this sequence, you're leading them into this path of, hey, thanks for downloading, joining the community. There needs to be more than that. And that's when an email funnel really sees its existence come into play because there has to be an end goal. Is your end goal because I want you to get like a $20, small, low level product? Is your end goal that I want you to get on a call with me and do a discovery call? What's your end goal? What is the step that you want the next step that you want this person to take? And if the emails don't lead naturally from one to the next, that's when people stop reading them. That's when people just say, you know what, I got my freebie, I'm unsubscribing. This isn't really giving me any value. It's just filling up my inbox. And sometimes when we do that, the call to action gets misplaced because if you put your call to action in the very, very last email and you've been sending me emails that are completely disconnected, I'm going to unsubscribe. You know what? I already got my freebie. I got the thing I wanted. I downloaded whatever the guide, the book, the template, the whatever, fill in the blank. I already got my thing. So if you're not keeping me engaged and you're not showing me the value and letting me see why it's important for me to be a part of your community, you've lost me. You have missed me. And that's one of the reasons why there's a gap between when somebody's downloading something and when they're actually engaging and taking it to the next step. So how do we connect all of this together? How do we connect that free download that we gave them all the way to understanding that this is the next step that I need to take to work with this company, to buy this product, to join this group program, whatever your end goal is, because remember, we want to make sure that there is an end goal to what's going on with the emails. So what we do is we set up something called sales driven email sequence. And there's 3 stages to this. We do it like this. There's a warm up, there's a bridge, and there's a call to action. Now, notice I said 3 stages. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's only 3 emails. Sometimes people can do this in 4 emails. Sometimes people do this in 5 emails. Sometimes people can do this in 3 emails. So I want you to take a look at this and look at this as the stages versus the number of emails that you're going to be sending, because you may need to send me an extra email in between that somebody else doesn't need to send me because of where the goal is and the path that you're taking me down. So I want you to think about that. So we've got the warm up, we've got the bridge, and then we've got the call to action. These are the 3 stages of the sales driven email sequence that we're going to go through today. So let's talk about the warm up. The warm up is when it's the next email after, here's your free download that you got. You know, it's going to help you do this. I'm so excited to have you in the community, you know, da 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 da, all of that amazing stuff that we do with that first immediately emails, because you've sent that immediately, because they've given you their name, their address, their email address, they've signed up. So the next email. The next email that we're going to look at is something that we call the warm up. And this is when we start to share a story or an insight where we connect them to their situation. What was the reason that they downloaded that freebie? There's something that they're trying to help them with. There's something, a challenge that they're dealing with. There's something that they need to learn more of. This is their current situation. So when we're sharing a story, we're sharing it so that they can see themselves into the story. They want to see themselves in the transformation. They want you to know that your business understands their struggles, knows what their goal is, understands the questions that they have. So this warm up email connects them, showing you that, you know, I've been here, I've done this. This is why I started my business. This is where I started, you know, 25 years ago. This is what happened to me. 25 years ago, I didn't know this. And now I do this. Give them a win or an aha moment. And what that's going to do is it's going to set the stage. It's going to set the foundation for when you do say, and that's what my business does. Because that's, you're setting the stage of saying, I understand your problem because I went through your problem, or my clients that I work with go through your problem. I see your goals. I know the transformation that you want to make. And so what you're doing is you're setting that foundation so that when you do tell them that your business, your product, your group program, whatever it is the solution, it all makes sense. You've connected the dots for them, so to speak. So now we've got the other emails moving in the middle of the call to action. It's the bridge. So we take what we've been doing, we've got the download, and now we've done a little bit of a warm up. The warm up could be an introduction warm up, and then it could be another email where you sent about, you know, your aha moment, your insight, or something like that. What you're doing here is you're bridging. You're bridging what happened with that thing that they downloaded to your final step that you want them to take. So you're taking those things and you're bridging, you're creating the bridge on the path of the journey. So we've started here, and if our end goal's here, there's a bridge that brings us to that path. So what we're doing with these emails, and it could be one email, it could be two emails. Again, it's going to depend upon when you work through this. And let me just say, and I'll remind you towards the end of the video as well, but you have a workbook that you're going to be able to use with this training video today. And some of those questions that I'm going to ask you in that workbook is going to help you build out the content for your warm up as well as your bridge, and then the third step when we get to the call to action. So I want you to think about, go through those questions and think about how you can reframe this challenge that they have, this issue that they have, so that they see it differently and address their objections, address their hesitations. I felt the same way too. I didn't think that a group program could help me. I didn't think that something like this product was going to help save me time. That's the type of thing that people are looking for. So when you do position your business, your company, your services, your product, it becomes a natural next step because you've bridged the front part of the download, the freebie download, to your end goal. And now it makes sense. These are not just random emails that you're sending them stuff. They exist together. They exist because they're connected, and one leads to the next and leads to the next. So when we get to the third stage, which is the call to action. The call to action, we want to be very direct with it. It's not like, do you think this might be a good idea? No, this is the best next step for you. This is what you need to help you do X, Y, and Z. You want to make sure that there are links, several links, put buttons in there, online shopping buttons, everything that you could see to make sure that people see it and they do not miss the opportunity. And the call to action now becomes the continuation of this story. And you want to focus on the benefit that they will gain, that what is it that they're going to save time, they're going to save money, they're going to feel more confident, something that they thought they could never do, they're going to get it done in 30 days. Those are the types of things that they're going to see a benefit to. So that when we talk about our call to action, it's not just, hey, save $10. It has to be more than that. What is it that's going to get somebody to be engaged with this email and to take action? So I want you to focus on that benefit. Let's talk a little bit about these writing tips too, as I jump into this, kind of wrapping this whole thing together. Again, go through the workbook. The workbook is going to help you write some of these email messages, because I wanted you to make sure that all of these emails are taking the next logical step and they're not random. I said write all three emails. I meant all three email stages. All three email stages. That's what I meant to say. Because again, it could be 4 emails, it could be 5 emails. It depends upon how you can break this out. I want you to write them all in one sitting so that they connect. Put them all on that Google Doc. And if you don't even get to the point of the Google Doc and you're still kind of struggling, one of the things that I have done is I've gotten out a piece of paper and a pencil and I just start sketching it out. So if this is my email download and it does this, it provides this value, it helps them with this. And if this is my call to action, I look at it and I think about, what are the steps that I need to get to that end call to action? What are the things that I need to take people through? And I'll just write it out. They need to understand this. They need to understand this. They need to understand this. They need to understand that. They need to get this. They need to download this. Here's a free value, additional free training that they can get, or whatever it is that I'm going to include in this. And I sketch it all out. And then I go in and start doing my email copy. And when I'm doing this, I stick to one main idea per email. So if I'm talking to you about this value, if I'm talking about your next step, I'm talking about creating a habit, or I'm talking about something it's a benefit to them, I'm going to stick with that benefit. It's not about how, and then you get this, and then you get this, and then you get this, and then you get this. Now that's when you've lost me. So try to stick to one idea per email. And you'll always want to utilize transitions like, and that's why this is going to help your business. And here's the shift that you need to move from where you're struggling into how this is going to help you do X, Y, and Z. So think about your writing like this. And also make sure that your emails are easily read. Think about how people are going to consume your emails. There's a really, really good chance that the majority of the people that are going to see your emails are going to be on their phone. So make sure that the tone of the marketing message, if you're friendly, direct, inspiring, continues throughout the whole thing, and it sounds like one person has written it. And use short paragraphs. Think about how people are skimming. People are going to skim emails. Think about bullet points that you can use. Think about ways that you can break up the text so that makes it easier for me to see exactly what you're trying to say, so that I don't just say, oh my goodness, you just sent me a blog post and I'm not going to read this whole thing. And use your copy using very strong and persuasive words. And I use the word persuasive because we're talking about sales here. So when you are utilizing ChatGPT, which I know you're going to be doing, or any kind of AI function, and you're thinking about how you're going to utilize their copywriting abilities, use the term persuasive in there. Say, I would like you to help me write this copy, persuasive copy, because that's going to help with the idea of the sales tone to it. So we're going to be talking about things like the benefit, not just the features of your products. And I mean the features of it is, how long you've been in business. That's a feature of how, of your business. The fact that it saves you time, that it saves you money, the fact that it's going to help you feel confident about yourself, that's a benefit. So you want to make sure that when you are creating this content and you are going to be utilizing anything like AI tools with it, use persuasive copy and ask it to focus on the benefits of the services or the product versus the features. So those are really important keywords that you want to use as you are trying to utilize ChatGPT or any other AI tool. And I'm going to say it again, don't hide the call to action. Make it easy to see, make it easy for your readers to act on, give me buttons, give me boxes, give me links, give me several links. Tell me at the very, very end, give me a PS with your link to it. Make sure that I don't miss it. I don't want to be able to get out of that thing and not think that there was no opportunity for me to sign up, to take my next step, to book a call with you, or do whatever it is that you want me to do for the call to action. So let's put this all together here. So when we're thinking about our email funnel, especially with regards to writing, I want you to put it together and I want you to think of it like storytelling. Because we think about a storytelling, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and then there's an end. So we start with the beginning, which is our warm-up email. This is the space where we build trust. We share who you are. You introduce your business. You're warming them up to understanding that your business is going to be there to help them with the solution to their problem. Then we move into those bridge emails. It could be one email, it could be two emails. What we're doing with these bridge emails is we're taking what we learned, we're taking what we shared, in the warm-up emails, we taking what they downloaded for their email opt-in, and we start bridging it together, and we start connecting it to your call to action, whatever that final call to action, that next step is going to be. So this is the bridge emails where we shift their thinking, their mindset. We handle any objections. We offer them more value. We give them the opportunity to see how everything can get connected. And then we end with those call to action emails. We give that clear, confident next step. We're very clear about where it is. We don't hide it in any place. There's lots of buttons. There's lots of links. We make sure that if somebody is going through that email, they know how to take that next step and why they should be taking that next step. And those are the important pieces that we do when we think about putting all of these things together. And when it comes to this funnel, as you can just see, it doesn't have to be a big fancy funnel. It doesn't have to be one of those, and I'm not even going to mention the name of the companies, but there's several of them out there. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell you these expensive products with all of these really in-depth funnel emails. And quite honestly, you just need to create these 3 basic type emails and make sure that you're writing them in a way that feels very human, especially towards you, and speaks the way that you speak and has conversations the way that you have conversations. And there's a purpose. There's a purpose to these emails. So we keep the email conversation simple. We keep it conversational. And every email should connect to the one before that. Remember my tip, use a Google Doc, put it all there and read the whole thing together. And if it feels disconnected, it most likely will feel disconnected to somebody who's getting these emails. And remember, being consistent with this is better than being perfect. Get this up there. Don't worry about perfection. You can always go back in and make changes, change out links, change out anything that you need to, but get it up there. And that way you can be consistent and make sure that you're actually reaching out to the people who've downloaded a freebie from you. So don't forget, get your sales email sequence workbook. You can map out your warm up, your bridge, and your call to action emails. I've got some great fill in the blank prompts for you that you can use, more like questions, I guess is a better way of saying it, and to help you draft up all the copy that you're going to need. So download your workbook. It's going to be on the same page where you see the training right there, and get the prompts that you need for your email sequences. Wow, that was great. So I went through all of that today, and I'm so excited for you, especially for those of you who made it through and you are thinking now. Your brain is now thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about what I'm going to be doing for my email marketing. How am I going to grow my business? How am I going to take people who have downloaded something for free from me and turn them into customers? And if you want to learn more about all of how this works and work with me one-on-one and work with other amazing small business owners, I would love for you to join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective program on Patreon. This is where we take all of these concepts that you have been learning in the Marketing Training Hub, and we turn them into action steps. You're actually going to get a monthly strategy workbook that looks really similar, and it's got more information, more prompts, more details about how you can use these strategy workbooks to help you with your marketing messages. And then when you join us in those group collaborative sessions, you can talk through any of your challenges, of any of the issues that's going on with your business, because we are here to help you. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have learned a lot about email marketing, and I am looking forward to learning everything about what you're doing to help you grow your business. And I will see you again on the next Marketing Training Hub. Bye.